So this Hess is, you may think he sounds like a fool or a jerk, but this is amazingly prescient in terms of someone writing this 140 years ago. Just think of that someone could write these things and they make sense even today. If we succeed in beginning, then no matter how difficult the practical realization of our plan might be, the difficulties will be overcome by experience itself. It's only the Jewish heart that is dead. That's what Herzl found too. If the Jews are no longer capable of patriotic inspiration, then we should have to despair of our hope, which, like every other great historical ideal, cannot be realized without tremendous struggle. He knows it's going to have to be struggle. And then he says further down there, the Jewish religion has indeed been, as Heine, that famous German lyrical poet, thought, with him all so-called enlightened Jews, Haskalah Jews, more of a misfortune than a religion for the last 2,000 years. Now that is not something the religious Orthodox Jews would like to hear. But our, quote, progressive Jews are deluding themselves if they think they can escape this misfortune through enlightenment or conversion, and that also is very prescient how he understands that. Who did Hitler take first? All the assimilated people in Germany. Every Jew is, and then he went after the population reservoirs in Eastern Europe. Every Jew is, whether he wishes or not, bound unbreakably to the nation. And only when Jewish people be freed from the burden which is borne so heroically for thousands of years will the burden of Judaism be removed from the shoulders of these progressive Jews. It is their duty, it is the duty of all of us to carry the yoke of the kingdom of heaven until the end. So he's trying to rally people like the Risorgimento in Italy. Last, social regeneration on 137. The civilized nations are at present preparing for a common exploitation of nature. So this is what we've seen happen up to our day to the point of global warming. This will be carried out by means of labor based on the discoveries of science. Well, that's exactly what's happened, and now we are finding that we have Silicon Valleys that can support people who just can sit and think. And social parasites no longer have any function or be allowed to exist. Well, as it turns out, the people who's calling social parasites to some extent maybe do have a function, in that, you know, Silicon Valley in Israel is maybe the substitute for rabbinic yeshivas. And so it's not necessarily clear that he's got that right, but still it's interesting that he understands these things. He's talking about what maybe we see in Europe in the 20th century, maybe not the 21st century. But he says labor is necessary. And what do they put on the concentration camps when they march them in? Arbeit macht frei, labor. That's what was the complaint of the fascist, anti-Semitic sort of mindset. Make them work. They don't work. Make them work. Laugh at them. Make them work. And Hess is saying that that's important too. That's what the nation would allow them to work, physical, redeeming labor, to revive something. But I know also, further down that page, that the Jews in exile, at least the majority of them, cannot devote themselves successfully to productive labor. In the first place, because they lack the necessary condition and ancestral soil. Well, this guy, to my mind, has it all, and you know, he's thought it all through. And he's not famous, but he's full. This is the people that, in that History of Zionism book, he calls the forerunners. And the last part of that particular section, hence no Jew, page 138 at the top, where the Orthodox or not can refrain from cooperating with the rest in the task of elevating all Jewry. Every Jew, even the converted, should cling to the cause and labor for the regeneration of Israel. So someone said, what is redemption? What is messianism in their view? He's giving it to you here, the regeneration of Israel. So Zionism, unfortunately, got a bad name. Because when people say Zionism, what's that? It's just the Jewish national liberation movement. But people think, ooh, Zionism, that's some plot or something, the elders of Zion. But in fact, if it didn't have that odd name, only most Jews or evangelical Christians, really, I don't think Catholic Christians or others like that kind of Christianity understand it, because they don't read the prophets that much. Evangelicals read the prophets, take the prophets' fundamentals, take them very seriously. So they know that return to Zion was the way the prophets spoke about the ingathering of the people. What is Zion? I told you once, but in case you forgot, what is Zion? It's not Mount Zion. Of course, the Mormons took it over for their Zionism. Their Zionism was in Utah. And therefore you have the Zion National Park in Utah, places like that. Zion became the promised land for them. But what is Zion traditionally or historically? Huh?
Slang.
What?
It's slang.
No. It's the seat of the Davidic family in Jerusalem. It's where the Davidic monarchy functioned. Mount Zion is a little hill, in Jerusalem. It's not a hill, Jerusalem itself is on top of a hill, but it's one of the little rises in the hill area that encompasses Jerusalem, and it was where the seat of government was of the Davidic monarchy. That's what it was. And unfortunately, that's what the prophets knew. So when they're prophesying Davidic restoration or whatever it is that Christianity has picked up for its prophecies and so on, they speak in terms of Zion, return to Zion. And, if you've ever read that psalm, the one where it's talks about returning to Zion with happiness on their faces and joy in their hearts and so on and so forth. I don't remember exactly which psalm it is, but I think you're looking, it's that one where they can't play their harps in a foreign land.
It's 136.
May our tongues cleave to the roof of our mouth. How can we sing a hymn of Zion or something like that? Can you find out? Is it 136?
I'm not very well versed in this book. In fact,
well, let me see it. I'll check if it is 136. I'm not sure if that's what it is, but our friend here seems to know the exact.
It's my favorite song.
Yeah, it's an absolutely stupendous song. You think it is 136? I hope you're right. Then we can do it quickly and not throw a lot of, but all the psalms are steeped in this thing. No, it's not 136 here in this one. Oh, it's 137. You're close. By the waters or rivers of Babylon, every translation is a little bit different. We sat and wept at the memory of Zion, and hung our harps on the poplars there. For our jailers had asked us to sing a song, and our captors wished us to entertain them. Sing us one of the songs of Zion, they said. How could we sing a song of Yahweh or of